Welcome to the Niner Fanatic Podcast. My name is Peter Lucas, and this is the playoff edition pregame show. 49ers 10-7, going against Cowboys 12-5. Renewing of a classic rivalry that I know that a lot of us old cats have been waiting to renew, because we just hate the Cowboys all around, all the way around. I have no love for the Cowboys at all. I don't like anybody on the team. I don't like their organization. I don't like anything about the Cowboys. So we're going to try and keep this civil, but the reality is that this is it, and we haven't had much of a rivalry in these past few years, but for me it goes all the way back to the 90s and those battles that we had back then when I was in high school, and that kind of tells you how old I am. But yeah, it's just the renewing of a classic rivalry that the youngins aren't going to remember, and they don't really know how deep this level of hate goes. But it's going to be a closer. I think that it's going to be much closer of a matchup than the Cowboy fans think. I've been hearing a lot of stuff on Twitter Spaces about all kinds of stats, DVOAs, and all we do. Where Dak is the number 3 quarterback and pressures and it's just a bunch of nonsense. It's a bunch of nonsense. That's all regular season stats. It's all skewed by the fact that you have the worst division. You're in the worst division in football. All this is skewed stats. We're not going to know. It's all about the matchups. We're in the playoffs now, and all that matters in the playoffs is the matchup. None of that. Those regular season stats matter. You can use them as kind of a guide, but to sit there and use them as the Bible, this guy was earlier in Twitter Spaces, is just a recipe. It's a recipe for you looking real bad. So, not saying that the 49ers are going to annihilate the Cowboys, but I think it's a bad matchup. It definitely, absolutely is a bad matchup for them. So, but the 49ers need to dominate this game physically. And they're very capable of doing that. They have the players on offense and defense to just kind of dominate the line of scrimmage. And I know the Cowboys think that they have this great offensive line and that they're even there. They look at Micah Parsons and that he's got his sacks, and you got DeMarcus Lawrence and you got Randy Gregory. They can't stop talking about Randy Gregory. But the reality is we have Bosa. We have just as many. We have Trent Williams. We have just as many guys, and I feel like our guys are trump their guys. And that's going to upset a lot of Cowboy fans. Not that they'll probably look at this, but the reality is I feel we have a leg up in as far as physicality and as far as just plain old scheme, like coaching. I feel like we have a way better coaching staff than they do. I give Dan Quinn a lot of credit for turning this defense around, and I feel like that's what got them their record, was him turning around this defense. But their defense, and I'll get into that in a little bit, is they're really undisciplined, and from what I've seen, and they go a lot of, it's a lot of gambling and a lot of just it's not fundamental football. It's a lot of, they're just going off of athleticism, and they're just letting them play. So I just think that Kyle is going to use his scheme and put them in a position to where they actually have to think about what they're doing, and I think that that's where they're going to fold. So let's start talking about the Cowboys. Cowboys 12-5, like I said, they're the worst division in the NFC East is the worst division in the NFC. So despite having 2 teams in the playoffs, they're still bad. I don't, and not that the Cowboys are a bad team. I quite the contrary. I think that they have a plethora of players that should make this team a good team. I don't believe in their coach at all. I think Mike McCarthy has proven that he doesn't know what to do with with the players that he's had on offense, and he's an offensive coach, and I don't think anybody. I mean, you should remember how he just kind of mismanaged the whole Green Bay situation, and for him to go to the Cowboys and get another shot at it, they have so many weapons on the Cowboys. They should just be blowing teams out, and quite frequently they kind of play down to their competition. So they do beat bad teams in their division, but the team has athletes everywhere on both sides of the ball. Also, but they, like I said before, they play undisciplined brand of ball, and they trust in their athleticism too much. They're the most penalized team in the NFL. That tells you right there. Tells you right there. Lack of discipline. And Dak Prescott is the face of this offense, but I really feel like it's the running game that makes it go. Um, Ezekiel Elliott has, I mean, he's lost a step, but he's still got 1,000 yards this season. And then you've got Tony Pollard, who's their home run hitter, and he's their guy that just breaks long runs. But I mean, he's got 700 yards rushing. So when you really look at this team and you look at this offense, yeah, Dak Prescott got his 4,000 yards and 30. I think he ended up with 37 or 38 touchdowns. But I mean, I think this offense truly goes by their running game, and it's going to be really if you can stop their running game, that Dak tends to kind of push. He just presses, and that's when the 49ers should be able to take advantage, because what I expect him to do is he's going to press when they don't when he doesn't start completing passes, then he's going to start throwing the ball down the field and trying to get PIs. That's what every team does against the 49ers, because 49ers give up PI calls because they're a bend but don't break defense, and they would rather give up the PI call than to give up the big catch. So, but tackling is going to be really a key in this running game, because they're going to try to run the ball early and often, in early on in this game, and the 49ers have to tackle. Now, luckily, the 49ers are a top 3 run defense in the league. So that's right in their wheelhouse. I feel like the Cowboys are running right into their strength, the strength of this defense. And like I said, Dak Prescott is good, but he's in my opinion, he's not great. He has weapons all around him, including a good offensive line, and I mean, I hate to say he only got 4,000 yards, but I just don't think I think he requires that running game to go for him to be great. Now, when the running game's not working, does he get his yards? Yeah, he's got a couple of times he's gotten his yards, but I just don't see him that way, and I can't really explain it. It's not hate on the man, because I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't know if it's the scheme. I don't know really what it is about him, but I just feel like when he presses, he can make some bonehead mistakes, and he can give you the ball. So he can get that defense the ball. So, but this wide receiver group is great, even though they're down Michael Gallup, who I feel he's a great receiver. I mean, you would think that would be a huge loss for this offense, but they've got Amari Cooper, they've got CeeDee Lamb, and a guy that isn't talked about, they've got Cedric Wilson, who is, I mean, he's a burner. Like now he's getting open on routes. Like the guy is, he's pretty solid. Like so this wide receiver group is solid all the way around, and which is even more reason why I kind of give Dak a little side eye that he doesn't dominate more with this passing game. But yeah, their defense is opportunistic. They want to create pressure and cause turnovers. I mean, that's the recipe for every defense's success, right? But specifically them, they want to get after the passer and cause him to make bad throws, and that's when they that's when they get their picks. Trevon Diggs ended up with 11 picks this season. Cowboys ended up with 27. They ended up with the most picks in the league, but 11 out of the 27 was one dude. And I just feel like this team is not, it's not gonna work out that way against the 49ers, because the 49ers don't treat their passing game in the same vein as most teams, and it's going to look really different. It's going to look really different on Sunday. But Micah Parsons, young stud of a linebacker, that you would think, with his numbers that he is an edge rusher, but he's a linebacker, and he's actually solid in coverage. So the kid is a really good all-around linebacker. But he really shines on the pass rushing, and I believe he has 11 sacks, and he's a beast off the edge. Thank goodness we got Trent Williams coming back. But I expect them to kind of move him around. They're not going to have him go against Trent Williams and Kittle all day. So that ought to be interesting. They got DeMarcus Lawrence, who's also a good edge. But he's been hurt for most of it. I think he's only played 7 games this season, but he still has to be respected. So I fully expect him to make a couple of good veteran plays in this game. Who else they got? They got Randy Gregory, who also has to be accounted for. He's got 6.5 sacks this season. Really good, solid veteran edge. They have good pieces on their defensive line, but they struggle in the run game. They struggle giving up yards in the run game. And kind of like the Niners, they're not bad in the red zone on defense, but I think that is going to be tested in this game, because I think the 49ers are, like they do everybody else, they're going to test to see if they can stop that 49er run game. And can they with a really kind of so run defense? We'll see. And but I'm just not impressed. I'm not impressed with their defense. They're opportunistic, and they've got all these interceptions, right? But from the couple of games the last couple of games that I watched them play, including the debacle that was them against the Eagles, playing Eagles third stringers, it's not even fair to count the stats in that game. They outmatched the Eagles, because the Eagles were sitting everybody, and I can't even think that Cowboy fans would take anything from that game. So it's but even then, they gave up rush yards against like their second and third string guys. So how good is this defense really if you get physical with them? I feel like this team is a finesse team. We just faced a finesse team in the Rams, and they tried to get physical and try to match the 49er physicality in the beginning of the game. But eventually the 49ers just wore them down. And I feel like that's a real possibility in this game for the Cowboys also. I'm going to move on to the 49er offense, and they're fully healthy. They're fully healthy for the first time in forever. It's going to be Jimmy's going to be starting, no surprise. All the people that are still shouting for Trey, come on, get over it. It's over. It's over. We have Jimmy for the foreseeable, unless he gets hurt. So, which we don't wish upon him, because in reality, Kyle feels comfortable calling plays for Jimmy. It doesn't matter that Jimmy gives away the terrible pick every now and then. That's his ride or die. So we got to get over it, and we've got to look at this game and look at it as like Kyle's looking at it. How can we put Jimmy in a position to not just win the game, but to flourish and put him in the best position to succeed? And I just think that I was pleasantly surprised in the last game, because he's throwing outside the boundary. He threw some balls downfield, and that's what's missing. That's what's been missing from Jimmy's game this whole time. Now, granted, the one time he try to throw downfield. He ended up throwing a pick, but regardless, I would rather him just the attempt to throw downfield keeps the defense it loosens things up for the run game. So yeah, I mean, Jimmy's going to be starting. I mean, but he has to stay away from the interceptions in this game because, like I said earlier, the Cowboys they got players. They got players. They have Ezekiel Elliott. They got Tony Pollard, and even though those guys, I don't feel like they're going to run all over the 49er defense. You got to keep the defense out of bad positions, and you've got to keep the defense off the field and keep them fresh so that they can rush the passer. Because ideally, you want to get up early. The 49ers want to get up early so that they can get those thoroughbreds on the D line to get after Dak. But yeah, they have to take advantage of the Cowboys' over aggressiveness, and the running game is going to be the focal point, of course. I would be shocked if it wasn't, but 30 plus times is the goal for runs. And I want to see Elijah Mitchell get at least 25 carries in this game. This is the playoffs now. It's not time to rest anybody. It's not time for any of the nonsense. They need to go right at these guys' chests. And but like I said, got to keep the defense rested and the Cowboy offense off the field. So yeah, we want to see Elijah Mitchell all day long, and we just want to see him and Debo getting those just change of pace. And if we have to see Hasty or Jeff Wilson as a change of pace, that's fine. I just want them to have minimal carries in this game. We need our best. And Debo just has this way of finding chunk plays, and it's going to be, I think he has a real opportunity in this game. From what I've seen of the Cowboy defense, I think he has a real opportunity to gash these guys and open things up for the passing game. Debo's going to be, obviously Debo's going to be one of the focal points. How many carries is he going to get? How many receptions is he going to get? Is he going to throw for a touchdown? We don't know. We don't know what Kyle's the mad scientist got planned. Anything could pop out. And normally Kyle's trick plays don't really work out too well, but it was a beautiful trick play last game. And I just can't wait to see how Kyle deploys Debo in this game, because the 49ers have so many weapons and that don't get any credit. Nobody seems to know who they are until they get on the field and hit you in the mouth. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see how they deploy Debo. Ayuk should be able to eat in this game, because I feel like they're going to move around Trevon Diggs and make him guard Debo. So Ayuk should be able to eat, because they got Kelvin Joseph, I believe, as he's a rookie. I think he's going to be starting in this game, and I think that they can take advantage of that. Ayuk, and then also you got Jennings, but I want to see them use Jennings as like a battering ram to wear down those corners on both sides. I want them to put him on both sides against him and against Joseph and Trevon Diggs, just to loosen them up. And then when it comes time, because as this guy in the Twitter Spaces was saying earlier, Cowboys are going to run a lot of cover one, which is supposedly Jimmy's weakness. And so now you've got to loosen those guys up. You got to loosen them up with the run game. Use those bigger receivers to hit these corners in the mouth and loosen them up for that run, not just the run game, but they're going to make them back off the line. And but I'm hoping that they use Micah Parsons to cover Kittle, because I'd rather see him out in coverage than him getting a chance to rush the passer. You're there. He's going to rush the passer from time to time, and probably a lot in this game. But I would love to see him have to cover Kittle on a regular basis and just kind of tire himself out. So, because Kittle's not just going to run out on routes. he's gonna go in the he's gonna block him in the run game, and there's a chance that he could really tire Parsons, who is still a rookie, even though he's played fantastic this season. He's a rookie, so let's let's see what he can do against the best tight end in the league. And yes, I said it, the best tight end in the league. Let's move on to the defense. So Aziz, Hufanga, and Marcel Harris are all questionable in this game. Aziz, I think, is probably Aziz and Hufanga, I feel like, are going to play. But the question really is if Aziz plays, do they play him or Greenlaw? Greenlaw had a hell of a game in the last game. Was he a little over aggressive? Absolutely. Did he have a couple of needless plays? Absolutely. Like just mistakes. But it was from him being over aggressive. And I heard Croc say it earlier in the week that I'd rather bring a guy down and ask him to be try to bring him down a little bit than to ask him to be more aggressive. So, yeah, I have a feeling Greenlaw is going to start, even though Aziz has had a phenomenal season. But don't be surprised if Greenlaw gets burned on a route or something to that effect, that Aziz ends up back out there. It just is the nature of the beast. I mean, it is what it is. But I feel like the Cowboys' offensive line is overrated. I really do. The more I watch, I mean, Tyron Smith is great. He's really good. But he's hurt. He's got a knee issue, and he's going to play. But I mean, but he's going to have to take on Bosa. And granted, they're probably going to throw guys into chip Bosa and double team him. But I mean, real talk. Like, I mean, how is that? Bosa is a top 3 defensive end in this league. I don't care that he didn't make the All-Pro team. I mean, the guy's got 15 plus sacks. So it's going to be a long day for Tyron Smith, and the offensive line for the Cowboys in general, because I think that with all the attention that they're going to have to give Bosa a lot of attention, every other team has, and it's going to open things up for the rest of the D line. They are so deep with Ebicom, DJ Jones, Eric Armstead. And now you got Maurice Hurst back, and then you've got Arden Key and Contavious Street, and I mean, it just, the list kind of goes on. They're all solid. They're all solid depth pieces. And then I didn't even talk about Amenahu, but I don't think that the Cowboy fans understand the depth of this defensive line, that it's not just Bosa. And I fully expect the 49ers to get at least 3 to 4 sacks in this game. But I feel like Cowboys O-line is overrated. I think that I think that the 49ers are not going to have a problem shutting down this run game. And I think that they're going to be able to get pressure. Don't at me. But the defense is going to go as the pressure this D-line generates goes, if that makes sense. So it's, as always, the D-line has to dominate for this defense to survive and not give up big plays. So Armstead and DJ Jones need to get pressure up the middle. I really want to see them get some pressure and get up in Dak's face, because from what I've seen, Dak likes to step up in the pocket, as good quarterbacks usually do. But that's where you got Armstead and DJ Jones come into play, and they just need to wreck that offensive line, especially the middle of it, and just give Dak nowhere to go. But you've got Warner, Aziz, and Greenlaw all together. Who starts between Aziz and Greenlaw? I talked about that earlier, and I just think it's going to be Greenlaw, but it's a good problem to have. You got because if one of them struggles, you got another guy just ready to take up that spot. And the 49er linebackers have been good all season. All of them. It didn't matter who went in there. Even when Marcel Harris uh the other guy's name kind of it's escaping me right now. But yeah, all their linebackers have looked solid. Manuel Mosley played like he never left last week. I felt like he had a really good game for just coming off IR and not even practicing, not even having time to practice. So it's going to be, I think he's going to be solid on his side. I don't plan on the 49ers moving guys around. They do what they do. They have one guy take one side, the other guy takes the other. It's not going to be, it's not going to be them moving around Mosley tracking Amari Cooper. That's not going to happen. So that probably means that they're going to move Amari Cooper over to Ambry Thomas's side and try to take advantage of Ambry Thomas. But D'Amico has done an awesome job of disguising coverage, and not just disguising coverage, but just kind of keeping the rookie safe. And Ambry, to his credit, has gotten better and better every week. He capped it off with an interception last week, and he's been in position. He's been in position the last 3 games in a row. He had rarely been beat, and yeah, he got hit for a touchdown, but he was in perfect position. It was just a perfect throw. So Dak's going to have to make perfect throws. That's what that tells me, and we'll see if he can do that. But I have all the confidence in the world in Ambry Thomas right now. I think he's got some swagger going into this, and I think he's going to be physical with whoever he's lined up against. But K'Wan Williams is back. That's huge for us. Huge for us because we really struggled with Dante Johnson in the slot last game against Cooper Kupp. And it's going to be huge. And it's not just going to be huge for the passing game. K'Wan Williams really helps out in the run defense too. So look for him to get a couple of tackles in the run game. And yeah, I think that's going to be a huge addition for us also. But with solid corner play, how big of an impact are Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart going to be in this game? I think with having Mosley back and Ambry Thomas being as solid as they have, it might give them the opportunity to roam and cover, make sure that they blanket Darwin. I think his name is Darwin Schultz. Schultz is his last name, but their pass catching tight end, who is really that's what he's good at. He's good at catching balls, and he's an offensive. I mean, he's a tight end that's a receiving tight end. Not much in the run game, from what I saw. He's not that great of a blocker, but I mean, that's what they have him for, is in that passing game. But I think that might give them the ability to kind of freelance a little bit and maybe get Dak in some trouble with some interceptions. But we'll see how that goes. But I really trust in D'Amico's scheme of bend but don't break. You're going to see some big plays in this game. You're going to see some big plays from Dak, like some big throws, and they're going to get down the field. They're going to get into the red zone, but it's what happens when they get down in the red zone and how the 49ers just tighten up and don't allow them to score touchdowns. That's the key, because I think that when the 49ers get in the red zone, I think that there's a good chance they're going to score. Because of the physicality nature of their offense. So we shall see. But yeah, I think the defense has a real chance to dominate in this game and kind of confuse Dak a little bit. So my prediction, and this is gonna maybe ruffle some feathers, but my prediction for this game is 49ers 30, Cowboys 21. And could I be saying making this score with a little hate in my heart for the Cowboys? Could be. But I understand this should be a close game because it's the playoffs, and that the Cowboys have all kinds of talent on the squad. But at the end of the day, I don't trust their coaching staff. And at the end of the day, I just don't trust Dak in this situation. I just don't. You can kill me after the game, but I just don't trust him. And I think the 49ers run game is going to dominate. And even if it doesn't at first, I think that eventually they're going to wear down that Cowboys defense, and they're going to have them looking all over the place and run because they're so undisciplined that I feel like their eyes are going to be going everywhere. And I just feel like they have a real chance to wear down that defense. But like I said, Dak is going to get yards, but I think the TDs are going to be hard to come by once he gets in the red zone. And I think Jennings and Ayuk are going to be big factors in this game. I really think that Jennings is going to be, in particular, is going to be a big factor because it looks like Jimmy trusts him a little bit, especially in big moments, as we saw in the last game. And that kid just really feeds off the physicality nature of the blocking and all the other stuff. I wouldn't say a mini Kittle because he's tall, like he's a big receiver, but he's kind of like Kittle in that way that he kind of feeds off of the physical part of the game. And I just think that the whole team kind of rallies around that. Um, but does Jimmy stay? I also think that Kittle is going to dominate these safeties. I really do. I think he's going to dominate the safeties and whoever else in the run game. So I think he's going to dominate the safeties in the passing game because I don't think that they're going to put Parsons on him all game. And if you want to put Van Der Esch, I don't think Van Der Esch is quick enough to guard him. So I think they're going to end up trying to put a safety on him. And I think that he's going to dominate their safety because their safeties, in my estimation, really aren't that good. And then he's going to dominate in the run. I think he's going to dominate in the run game. And I feel like he's going to get extra physical in this game. I think he's going to try and take Parsons' head off a couple of times in this game, and he might not succeed. But Kittle, he's going to try. So, I can't wait to see it. But does Jimmy stay away from the terrible throw? This is the X factor to this game is Jimmy's going to make his reads, and he's going to know where he wants to go with the ball. And if that's covered up, he's probably going to throw it anyway. So, can we keep them from getting 1 to 2 picks? Really, can we keep them from getting 2 picks? I think if they can survive 1, but I don't think the 49ers can survive 2 picks from Jimmy in this game. Does our D-line dominate their overrated offensive line? They should, but do they? And do the San Francisco corners prove all the Cowboy fans wrong? Prove that they are not a liability? I really want to see that for Ambry Thomas and Emmanuel Mosley. I don't think people consider Emmanuel Mosley a top corner. And I wouldn't say he's a top corner, but he's very solid. And he had a pick in the last game. And I think he's just he's played well all season, even but like before the injury. But then he came right off that injury and went right back to playing solid. And at the very least, he has a chip on his shoulder and he plays physical. So I think that's a key. I think that's a key that these corners need to prove these Cowboy fans wrong. But thank you guys for listening, watching, and for all your support. And to the Cowboy fans in the Twitter spaces and on Twitter and in Facebook, all you Cowboy fans out there, they're coming. They're coming. So to continue your playoff misery, that's our goal, is to continue your playoff misery. We want y'all to be crying after this game. And I can't wait. I can't wait. So at the end of the day, like I said, I plan on the 49ers physically dominating this game. I know that a lot of people have on national media have kind of said that early, and then they decided to pick the Cowboys at the end of the day. But I'm not. I'm sticking with my 49ers. I think that Kyle schemes up a great game plan in this game, and I think D'Amico does the same. And that's all I got. So Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys so much. And once again, go Niners. Two fists up in there today. Go Niners.